Welcome back to Broken Bobby's transformation page. In the late 80s, I became involved with drugs and would eventually become part of that lifestyle of trafficking, addiction, and violence. Over the next 20 years, I would be in and out of jail and prison. If you're thinking about trying something or you're dealing with addiction, your life don't need to go down the same path mine did. I hurt a lot of people, both physically and emotionally. These are my stories of how I transformed my life, and you can too. Let's get it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. As you can see by the thumbnail and the title, this is the riot that wouldn't stop, an LA County jail story. Now, this one ends a little bit differently, so stick with me on this one because, yeah, it ends up crazy. So now, I notice I have there's subscribers to the channel that aren't from the area or even the country. So let me explain to you what LA County Jail is like. LA County Jail is a complex of jails consisting of Men's Central Jail, the Twin Towers, and Wayside Pitches Detention Center. And you have all these different areas that you could possibly end up at, but this story is going to take place at Wayside or Pitches Detention Center. And this one happened in Medium North. Now, Wayside is broken up into Supermax, Medium North, and Eastmax. I've been to Medium North and Supermax. I never seen Eastmax, so I'm assuming that was like the blocks or cell living over there. The other two were dorm housing. So, yeah, that's like a general idea of what LA County is like. At the time I was doing time in LA County Jail, which was back in the late 90s, early 2000s, there were an estimated 27,000 inmates at any given time within that system. So this is a huge complex, you know, from the lowest of level criminals to the highest level, people that are part of the big four organizations. So it's a completely mixed bag of, you know, who's in this system. So in this story, I end up in Medium North, and Medium North, basically it is a dorm style living, and there's like picnic type tables, like the stainless steel ones. I'm sure you've all seen pictures of them, or if you've been there, you know what I'm talking about. Then you have phones, showers and stuff, and then there's bunks to the rear. There's like a sort of a brick wall deal in the middle that separates the day room from the, you know, the sleeping area. And at this time in there, I was, you know, usually the Southsiders and the blacks are going at it, and it was remarkable how much peace and harmony there actually was in this dorm. For the story, the guy that was running the Southside car, we'll call him Silent, and the guy that was running the black car, basically, or the representative for the blacks, we'll call him Smokey. And Silent was running a tight ship, basically. He was communicating with higher ups, we'll just say. And, you know, like I know a little bit about this because I was running under the South umbrella just because there were no other woods in the dorm. And sometimes that'll happen in LA County Jail. And it doesn't mean that I was a Southsider or that I had jumped cars. It was just there was sort of an agreement, I guess, until some more wood showed up or until I moved on. And I had known Silent from back in the 9500 days when we were working in the kitchen together and he was the lead man. So coming in, you know, Silent, they called it a roll call. I don't know, you know, if that's
what it is or not, but I remember some of the homies saying that he was running the place like it was prison. And basically, if you were functioning with them, then you were going to be on that roll call. And what that consisted of was uh, they wanted to know your government name, your what hood you were from, uh, what you go by, and what you were charged with. Now, typically in the county jail, you don't really have paperwork to present. So, by gathering this information, as it was explained to me, they're checking to see if, maybe you've done something to where you might have something coming. Like they're checking all that stuff out. They're checking to see what your charges are and so on and so on. So, like I said, it was remarkable how peaceful it was in there. How, like it wasn't like the races were commingling, like playing cards and stuff or anything like that. But it was peaceful, and it was kind of refreshing that, okay, cool, this is going to be cool here. It's going to be a cool little spot to hang out until I move on from here after I've served my time. Well, there was somebody from the black side that got into a oral altercation with one of the deputies. And typically, that's not really something you want to do because it could bring heat to the pad. And, a lot of times, like, they'll shut down program, they'll shut off the TV and the phones, even when they're supposed to be functioning. And, ultimately, what happened with that, because of that situation, a bunch of deputies came in and shook down the pad. And what I mean by that is they came in, and when they do a shakedown, basically they tear the place up. They come running in like it's a raid or something to catch you off guard, because if you have any contraband, that's what they're looking for. And excuse me. And did they find some contraband that belonged to the Southsiders? And now this was an issue. Now, when they do the shakedown in the building, what they do is they end up bringing everybody out, checking them to make sure they don't have anything on them, and then they just completely tear the place apart. Like, if you have pictures and stuff, they might be 2 or 3 rows over. And, like if you were fortunate enough to come up on an extra blanket or something, that all that stuff is taken. Any extra toilet paper, like, you basically get back what you have coming according to their standards. So some stuff got confiscated that belonged to the Southside homies, and now we have an issue. So basically, the way I observed it, like, I wasn't on the inside by any means of this, of discussions or anything like that, but the Southsiders lost some stuff that was really important, I guess. Like, I don't want to speculate what that was. I heard some things, but it really wasn't my business, even though the whole situation was going to become part of my business as well, real quick here. So Silent went and got at Smokey and said, that dude's got to go. Like, he messed the program all up, and some important stuff was lost. So you guys need to handle that and get him out of here. Now, one thing I will say with most of the races, especially in prison, is, most races aren't going to let another race dictate their program and how they do things. So the blacks basically said, "Chale, that's, we're not going to do nothing to the guy." And it got tense in there. One of the homies came by, he said, "Hey, be on your toes. It's probably going to kick off." So, me being white and not a Southsider, as people were grouping up, I did my best to get to the back. I would ultimately participate, but it wasn't. I don't know. It wasn't my people's thing, I guess you would say. And although like, I was running under their umbrella. Like I definitely wasn't going to put myself front line in a situation like that. So it gets real quiet in there. The blacks are kind of over behind the wall towards the bunk area, and all of us, the Southsiders, me, and the Paisas, are all up over kind of by where the picnic tables are. And there's a bunch of it got real quiet, and then there's a bunch of shit talking going on, and the clash happened. Boom, the place just goes up. Now I don't recall exactly how many men were in these dorms, but it was more than enough. Like LA County's typically overcrowded anyways, so it kind of clashes. Then like it kind of moves in waves. It's not like a big open area where everybody can just get there. So people are like throwing trash cans and stuff, and like pretty much anything you can get your hands on to try to harm the other side is being hurled at one another. And so then the deputies come in. They open up the door. They come in a group, and they're giving verbal commands to stop fighting, which is a joke. Like once it's boiled over to that point, like verbal commands ain't gonna do it. You need chemical agents and stuff like that. So they're yelling. It's still going down, and they throw a bomb or two in there, and it's like these rubber pellets explode out of it. And if you're within a certain range, you're gonna feel that. Like I didn't feel it. That was actually the first time I had seen that. I think those were deployed during the other riot I was in at Supermax as well. So they get it quelled enough. They take everybody out, and me and the Southsiders, they take us. They have like this little mini yard. If you watch YouTube and you've seen like a shoe yard, it's kind of similar to that. It's concrete, and so we're all out there in our boxers basically, and we're all sitting on the ground. And I remember it was cold. I don't know how cold it gets up there in Castaic where Wayside is at, but it was cold. So we're out there for what seemed like forever. I imagine 3 or 4 hours. And what they do is they remove the people with injuries and anybody they think are instigators or people that they think may be in control. And then they put everybody back into the dorm. And, everybody's on bunk status basically, which that's a joke. There ain't nothing stopping me or anybody else from jumping up off that bunk and kicking it off again, which is exactly what happened. So it's really turning into a long day into the night at this point. So it kicks off again. And, after a while, the deputies, they come in, they break it up. Now we're back out on the concrete yard again. And it's still cold out there. And, it's like, it's getting kind of old at this point. But, the thing about these types of things is somebody's always going to be upset and feel like they got the shorthand the last time and they want their run backs. So 3 or 4 more hours out there on the concrete yard, they bring us back in. What do you guys think happened? Drop a comment down below and let me know. So, it kicked off again. So now this is the third one. Like the group is getting smaller and smaller as we go. But after this third one, they get everybody separated, and we're back out on the mini yard again. And this time the deputies take extreme measures. They go in, they take all the mattresses, which aren't much to begin with. They're little thin mattresses. If you've seen like 60 Days In or something like that, it's similar to that. Actually, some of those mattresses look better than the ones we were getting, but they took all the mattresses, they stripped us down, and basically gave us like a sheet, or left us like a sheet. should say. Maybe it was a blanket. I don't really recall. But now nobody's got any clothes. And I'll put something up here. Uh, I seen an article about a similar situation that happened in LA County to show you that I'm not bullshitting about this. So now everybody's naked with just a sheet, no mattress. It's been a hell of a long day to begin with. And here we go again. I never thought, never in my wildest dreams did I ever imagine I would be in a naked riot. I know it sounds funny, but when that stuff kicks off, like emotions are going, and nobody wants to have the other side get the best of them. So, were there any winners or losers in this? I don't think so. And ultimately, the way they ended up finally squashing it was what they did was they relocated the remaining blacks into another dorm, and they left the Paisas and the Southsiders in this dorm. There was like 10 of us by this point, and that's how that one ended. So the thing is, if we don't allow ourselves to be incarcerated, then we won't have to worry about being in these types of situations. And the thing is, it's just about trying to get a little bit better every day, right? With addiction, everybody wants instant gratification. They want it now, right? And it's not quite that easy. It's just about making progress. Let's be a little bit better today than we were yesterday, and then tomorrow let's do the same thing. And before you know it, you will be surprised at how far you've come. So family, fitness, and freedom are the things that allowed me to get my life together, and they can help you as well. And like I always say, don't look at the mountain, just start climbing.